we should also talk about the things you get from HDMI 2.1 besides bandwidth. Okay, so hopefully this will come back. Okay, so we were talking about gaming. So HDMI 2.1 has all of these features that require bandwidth, but even if you're not going to go out and buy an 8K TV, or even if you may not go out and buy a 4K 120 TV, there are some things that are going to be available on computer monitors, as well as TVs that are not 8K TVs that are going to dramatically increase your gaming performance. So the first one, variable refresh rate. And the best way to think of this is think of a graphics card or a computer game. It has to draw each image itself. It's not like video where it's just displaying a photograph. Each image you see, the graphics card, the GPU has to draw. Well, sometimes if it's simple, like me standing in front of some water, that's an easy thing to draw. But if it's really complex, it's harder for that GPU to draw. And what happens is TVs have a fixed frame rate. It's almost like your teacher telling you to turn in your art homework before you're finished drawing the picture. So the display has to just send the image off, even if it's not ready. And that can end up being tearing. So if you look at the road on the bottom, it was drawing, and then all of a sudden the teacher said, give me your homework. And the display had to actually send it off early. And that can cause tearing. The other thing that can happen is, say your graphics computer, you have this monster PC or this monster graphics GPU, or the image is easy to draw and the computer draws it really fast and it's ready to send that image, but the TV says, nope, I am doing this fixed frame rate, 60 frames per second, you must wait, even though the computer could draw it at maybe 76. So that could end up causing judder and lag. So what they decided to do was now the display and the source, the game system, and the repeater and the sync, the display, talk to each other through the repeater. So everybody has to support this. And the game system will tell the TV what frame rate to be at that second in order to keep match what it can draw. So if it's something simple to draw, it says speed up, 96 frames per second, 114 frames per second, 120 frames per second, whatever you can do TV. And I will send it to you as fast as I can make it. Then it says, oh, that frame is really complex. All right, TV, slow down. I can only give you, 27 frames of that image. So what you end up with is no tearing and much smooth and as well as less lag and less stutter. Now, the big thing about this is the repeater, the source, and the sync have to do it. So if you look at our receiver, that is a screenshot of our receiver, it will tell you that the frame rate is variable in the display, and because it can see that the game system is sending the display variable frame rate. Now, this is already available in things like G-Sync and FreeSync, which are third-party versions of variable refresh rate. This is now just an open source part of the standard. So you may have TVs that can support G-Sync, FreeSync, and VRR. And our goal is to got to make sure we can support all of those things. All right. So the next thing is, say we were just talking about sometimes the computer can draw, or the GPU can draw the frame faster than the TV's refresh rate. The other thing that's holding it up is, even if the computer, the GPU, draws that frame really, really fast, it has to wait for the next time slot in the current HDMI standard. It's almost like a conveyor belt. I made my little object, and I'm waiting for the next tray in the conveyor belt to put that object in. With quick frame transport, which works in conjunction with VRR, as soon as that frame is built by your computer, it is sent down the pipeline to the display. So the best way to think of it is, we both have the exact same graphics card. Okay, I have a display and a receiver that can pass quick frame transport. You do not. Both GPUs draw the frame at the exact same time. Your computer is waiting for your time slot. Mine has already sent it down the pipeline. I see you before you see me, you're dead. So between variable refresh rate and quick frame transport, you get a massive improvement when it comes to playing a game. And then lastly, most receivers, including Denon's, if you ever know, I'm gonna put a video up on our Denon, our Sound United YouTube training page. We have a game mode built into all of our current Denon and Marantz receivers. Most TVs have a game mode in their televisions. However, what you have to do right now is manually switch the receiver into game mode and manually switch the TV into game mode. With auto low latency mode, if I am playing, I don't know, Netflix on my game system, all of the video enhancements that you have on the repeater, which is the receiver, and on the TV will be engaged. The second you switch from Netflix to playing a game, the video game alerts the receiver to switch into game mode to reduce the amount of lag, and then also it tells the display to switch to game mode to reduce the amount of lag. So what you end up with is optimized gaming performance, less lag, and optimized video performance with all of your enhancements on automatically. You don't have to do anything. It is done automatically. And by the way, auto low latency mode is available on our receivers. Have been on our receivers for how long, Jake?
About 2 years now.
Yeah. So yeah. So Jake has put that on the receivers, and we've had it on there for 2 years. So every receiver you buy now, the second you get that new game system that supports it, and you get that new display that supports it, even if you have a current receiver from Denon or Marantz, if you plug that sucker in, it will actually do this right now. So though, because remember, that's not a bandwidth requirement, that is a communication requirement, which meant we could add that to some of the receivers that are utilizing the older standard, which is HDMI 2.0B.